Welcome to Straight A Nation's first ever Educator of the Month. We're really proud and pleased to be here with one of the shining stars at Bedford High School, which you might have guessed by the bulldog in the background. We're here with Mrs. Meghan Lydon, and we're anxious for you guys to get to know her a little bit better. Mrs. Lydon, let's start out with asking, how long have you been teaching here at Bedford High School?
This is my 8th year here, unbelievably.
8th year, you look way too young.
Oh, well, you know.
Well, anyway, Mrs. Lydon is very modest, but I want you to know that she's one of the founding teachers here at Bedford High School. And I have kind of a little bit of an inside scoop because I do tutoring with a lot of students, and I get to meet some of her students at the academy. And I got to tell you, every single student who has Mrs. Lydon loves her, is crazy about her. So you should know that. All of your students love you. Why don't you tell everybody what it is you teach?
So here I teach Spanish, and I usually end up teaching a little bit of every grade, Spanish 2 all the way up to Spanish 5.
Wow. Y ella habla perfectamente el castellano también. I want to tell you that. I know she speaks a beautiful Spanish. Why don't you tell us a little bit about where you got your degree and a little bit about your background?
Sure. So I grew up in Arizona, but I was very pleased to end up attending UNH, where I studied Spanish and International Affairs, and I graduated there in 2001. And then moved with my husband into New York City, where I eventually did my master's degree at NYU Steinhardt School of Education and finished that in 2007, right before moving back up to good old NH.
Right before we were lucky enough to get her back, right? So, you know, not only is she a great classroom teacher, but we want to highlight some of the work she does outside of school. And I should probably point out that it's like 3 o'clock right now and most of the other teachers are gone, and she's got exams to grade, but she's still kind enough to give us some of her highly valuable time to do this interview. But I would like to ask you a little bit about some of the clubs and some of the work outside the classroom you do.
Well, it's all part of a day's work, really. The day gets longer and longer. But so I currently am the advisor to 2 different clubs here. The Spanish Honor Society is a really fun group to advise, and also the Interact Club, which works with the Bedford Rotary Club, is just starting up this year, and they're a really great group of kids.
You know, it makes sense that Mrs. Lydon works with the Spanish Honor Society, but can you tell us a little bit about how Interact even got started to begin with?
So Interact was really cool when it started because a group of 3 of my students, my 9th graders, came up to me, you know, shoulder to shoulder, and were like, would you be interested in being the advisor to our club? So I did a little bit of work investigating and researching the club that they were interested in starting here, and just everything about the Interact Club and service to the community and above self and all of that just really was appealing to me.
And you were working with the kids recently at the Bedford Regional Idol.
Yeah.
It was, what, a couple of weeks ago? Can you tell us a little bit about sponsoring that and how the kids pulled together to pull off a great show, by the way?
Yeah, so that was just, I think, 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. But that's actually one of the big fundraisers that the Bedford Rotary Club does every year. And it's also, in addition to being a fundraiser, it's a great showcase of all of the talent that there is in the young people in this part of the state. So the Bedford Rotary Club sponsors the event, and they invited the Interact Club to be part of that event. And a group of students really pulled together and came to sell raffle tickets and did a lot of interacting with all kinds of people who were there for the show, and they did a great job. I think they just represented us so well.
And how much, they raised a good chunk of money, right, for the community?
Yeah, so they raised $500 in that raffle, which I was like shocked and also so proud of them because they really, you know, they spoke to every single person in the audience at least once, and they were so polite and so professional.
They were
with
very
everyone.
polite.
They were great.
And so what are some of the things that the Interact Club will do with the money? What are some of the activities and programs that they are looking forward to support?
So overall, and this is our first year, so we're getting things set up, we will have at least one local charity event and one international event as well, is the plan. So for this year, we want to help to restock the New Horizons food pantry. So after the holiday season, a lot of their resources get depleted. So coming up towards Valentine's Day, we're going to sort of share the love back with New Horizons and help to restock their pantry. And then the student participants of the Interact Club will go and then serve the meal that evening, the day before Valentine's Day. So that's our local event for this year, getting things going, and we're looking forward to being able to help schools in other countries get the equipment that they need to really, do their job better.
That's a really great plan going forward, and it's something that Straight A Nation really wants to get behind and would love to. I hope we're going to do a lot of work with Interact Club. Straight A Nation is about increasing and raising community awareness, but there are a lot of communities out there who need our support, and Bedford is really blessed to have a great school, great teachers, great faculty, great resources, and we want to be able to share that to other communities in southern New Hampshire and around the world, for that matter. So we're really pleased that you have taken up the mantle to work with the Interact Club like that.
I'm thrilled.
So along with everything else that Mrs. Lydon does, she is active in various committees, and she's been asked by administration to take leadership role, the CFG committee and mentor teacher. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
Sure. So in this district, we're lucky to have a really robust mentor teacher program, mentoring program, so where teachers who have a few years of experience in the district can sort of help new teachers to the district learn the ropes, ask questions, help direct them to how we like to deal with the community, how best to get into touch with students' parents, all of those things that new teachers in particular maybe are not so sure of. So that's been a really great experience for me as well, because I've gotten to know some new teachers really in ways that I wouldn't have otherwise.
Let me tell you something, it's invaluable to have mentor teachers to show you the ropes, because even though you may know your material, once you get into the classroom and you're managing your own classroom and the reality of it all hits you, as a young teacher, it's great to have someone who's knowledgeable and as kind as Meghan Lydon is to go to lean on, to ask questions, to cry on her shoulder, probably a couple times along the way, I don't know. But also then not every teacher is allowed to have student teachers. So you have a student teacher this year.
I do. I'm really looking forward to that experience as well. I know that when I was a student teacher, I absolutely loved that experience of being in a classroom with another teacher who's just a master at managing the group and engaging with students. So that's going to be a great experience too.
Well, here you have it, another one of the many oftentimes unsung heroes at the high school in Bedford. But kudos to all of the teachers at all of the schools who serve Bedford students and beyond. We want to thank you for your service. And Meghan, add to all of your list of accomplishments, Straight A Nation, first ever Educator of the Month. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. That's very kind.